Hey guys, it's Krocolate. Welcome back to the channel. We're going to be talking about yet another very iconic and recognizable character. Well, last time we spoke about Godzilla and how iconic he is for cinema and the sheer influence of inspiration that movie gave to so many people. Today we're going to be speaking about Hello Kitty, specifically Hello Kitty Roller Rescue for the Nintendo GameCube. While Godzilla is iconic, I'm pretty sure you'll find Hello Kitty's face on far more products. Sanrio in 1960 originated as a silk company. And after a while, they figured out that the products that had little cute patterns and symbols on them ended up selling off better than the other products that they had. This led to them getting the rights of Snoopy from Peanuts and selling him on their products. And then in the 1970s, they wanted to make their own mascots and characters so they didn't have to just pay rights to other existing characters. And this then leads to Hello Kitty. She wasn't the first character that they made, but she definitely was the most recognizable and influential and popular, and now basically the mascot and forefront of the Sanrio company. You can literally find Hello Kitty's face on pretty much anything. You have mugs, you have shoes, you have shirts, you have books, you have car decals, carpets, tea cozies, bathroom stuff, lip gloss, probably a knife. You can see her on platforms, in platforms, on platforms, and on platforms, and also video game platforms in particular. This isn't the first game that Hello Kitty has ever been on, but this is the one in particular that we're going to be talking about today. When I was younger, it was a game that I wanted in my collection and I knew of, but it wasn't never on my priority bracket of games, but it's one that I wanted in my collection. And from the look of it, I thought this might have been a racing game of some sort back then. But, oh man, I was wrong. This is not a racing game at all. And this Wikipedia article, I didn't look at this as reference. They also seem to think it is a racing game. It is most definitely not a racing game. And we will get into what it actually is, just after I talk about the developers and publishers. Hello Kitty Roller Rescue originally released on the PlayStation 2 in Japan on April 28, 2005. Europe and Australia also got it on the PlayStation 2. North America would end up getting it for the Nintendo GameCube, and so did Europe. The Xbox version was released in Europe and Singapore, and the Windows one was released only in Europe. So as you can already tell from this, Europe had a monopoly on this specific game, basically. And what I find very interesting about it is when I was looking into the details of advertisements and any other side things about this game, Europe was the one that actually pushed more in advertising this game. The developer for this game was Expect Entertainment, a Taiwanese company. And you can already expect these people to make quality games on these. But no, I had to look up about Expect. I never heard of them before. Yeah, they worked on a Kung Fu Panda game. But the sheer shock that I had when I saw that they were involved in Final Fantasy 15. Now, they weren't the head developers of it, but Square Enix ended up getting smaller companies and stuff like that to assist in the game. And to be realistic, Hello Kitty Roller Rescue came out in 2005. That team probably isn't the ones that were involved with Final Fantasy 15. But let me dream. I like to think that they were involved in it, and that's where they got the vehicle physics and stuff like that. Like Square Enix saw the wheels on her skates and was like, these are the people. Something I missed during this generation of games in the early 2000s was the intros that games would have. Rayman 3 The intro and music for that game got me so ready to play that game. All the Mario sports games, Mario Sluggers, 1080 Avalanche. I don't even like standard sports games if Mario's not on it. But 1080 Avalanche, put that on and you can make me play anything. And this game actually has one, though you have to wait a little while on the menu screen and then it actually plays, but it has like a montage of gameplay scenes and cutscenes like mashed into it, and it kind of like invokes some sort of like emotion in me, and it actually got me invested in what I was looking at. So honestly, it did a really good job on wanting me to play the game. And already from looking at it, it's not a racing game. This is an action platformer, maybe a beat 'em up. And so when I actually started the game, I was actually excited to see like what it would be like. The thing is, because you know how these licensed games can be. Licensed games are known for being not so good. So, when I see Hello Kitty, I really don't know how deep the game will actually be. In mechanics, or feels, or like cutscenes. So when that intro actually got me hooked, it gave me like that sliver of, could this game be decent? When you finally start the game up, the opening cutscene kicks in. Hello Kitty is in Senrio Town running with her friends. She kind of looked pissed off here, and I don't know if she's trying to snap Batsumaru's neck or like she's playing tag. Either or, this looks good, and it creates such a environment of where you are. So I actually felt like, I'm like, oh, okay, they actually are establishing a little bit of a world here. And Senrio Town, the name of the town in this game, is actually named after the official Hello Kitty website that they had back then. Now the website's down, but apparently this was known to be like the hub for Hello Kitty stuff. And while all the Senrioans are like doing their thing in their town, all hell breaks loose in the sky and descends these polygon men. This is the Block Battalion, and they're ran by an evil tyrant named Blocko. You know these Block people mean business, because when they run up on Hello Kitty, they got like wine bottles in hand, they got guns, and they're about to do some very conniving things. I really wasn't putting this on my bingo list of the game, to have enemies trying to beat Hello Kitty in the head with a glass bottle. That was not what I was expecting for this game, but I am staying for it. While all this is happening, Hello Kitty then gets Power Rangered back up and pew, and it goes away, and then she shows up in Koropi's laboratory. And I have things to say about Koropi later on. Specific things to say later. But I'm going to say Koropi, not Keropi. There's a difference. When this happens, Koropi then lays down all the details to her on what's going on. They're being attacked, what have you. And then Hello Kitty then does her magical girl transformation. She gets her roller skates, she gets her wand, and then she gets sent back to Senrio Town. And then she starts bashing all these enemies, and then she jumps in there, POV shot, and then attacks us. We're the Block guy. For an intro, that is a dope intro. I really mess with it a lot. And so we start off back at her house. After every single level, we return back to her house. And in here, you're going to get access to like different features, like changing your clothes, character biographies, settings, saving, purchasing cutscenes and music. But you have to save a corresponding family member to get to that. When you go out the doors, you get sent out to your very first level, A New Hope. Batsumaru, you find him climbing over a wall, he got a frying pan in hand, and he will actually run with you throughout the level. And at first I'm like, oh, is this game multiplayer? No. He's computer controlled, but he's there with you for the first level, and he just helps you out. And this is where we actually get our first taste of movement. Back at the house, she can walk around, but she's like waddling around. But when you get out there in the stage, she has her roller skates on. And you actually can feel that different movement. She moves faster out there, and she has like this slight looseness with the movement where you kind of have to get the feeling of it to actually, like, it's really hard for me to describe. The developers are definitely trying to put a feeling of her movement in reference to the fact that she's on roller skates, but it doesn't really feel like any, like, let's say any other sports game where the character's on roller skates and you actually feel that momentum and slidiness to it. It's just so, like, vaguely there, but you know it's there. It's so hard to describe. It's like they gave you the slight flavor of, like, loose feet. But then they're like, oh, no, that's too loose. That's too loose. I don't know how else, what I'm saying, honestly. She gets a double jump. Standard thing in these kind of games. And she gets a 3-hit combo with her wand. And then if you jump once, she'll slam down with her wand. And then if you jump up twice, she shoots a beam with her wand to the ground, which you will end up finding is very useful in these fights. Oh, yes, the fights. When you jump over the wall where Batsumaru crawled from, this is when you kind of will get the iffies with the camera now. The movement was something that I could get used to and get over. It wasn't bad. But this camera is kind of difficult in closed-off areas. It does move with Hello Kitty, but not really fast enough. So you'll end up using your C-stick or, like, the triggers to try and, like, quickly adjust the camera to where you are. But when that happens, I don't want to say it's nauseating, but it is kind of like an eyesore a little bit, having to, like, quickly snap the camera real quick just to move properly, because these enemies are going to be, like, off screen and stuff like that. But again, that's only when you're in, like, these narrow areas where I found this as a big problem. And that's going to be the thing about any of these kind of locations throughout the game. It's not going to be there all the time, but when you are in a little narrow area, it's going to be really noticeable. But when you get to that combat, it's not half bad. Hello Kitty has to do, like, 2 of her 3-piece combo things to actually KO the opponent. She can also click Y in between her combo to do, like, a hip check, which launches the enemy as a projectile that bounces around and hits other people. This hip check is pretty useful when you're in clusters and you do not have your ultimate moves. Yes, she gets special moves. When you defeat an enemy, you get these stars. The first one is her just spinning around like a tornado. And then if you get 2 bars of it, you do this screen wiping move that kills everybody. But that hip check and the projectile that she can shoot from double jumping, that helps with those large clusters when you don't have the special move to clear it out. There's a dash in this game, and with Hello Kitty, you click trigger and you do dodges, right? It's kind of like Paper Mario 64's, like, spin dash thingy, except you can just spam that like crazy. And that's where you get, like, this, like, real speed in this game. It's very satisfying going between enemies and sections like this, just bouncing around, dodging, attacking, dodge, attack. It's really satisfying with the movement. So good job with that mechanic there. I forgot to mention that. And the level's very linear. You're going to get through the city, but this is also one of the best parts, in my opinion. And I'm going to say this throughout the entire game. The scenery and levels, I really love it. While other games would be all like, this is the grass level, this is the lava level, this is the snow level. This game is rooted to the world it's in. This is one of the reasons I really love Mario Sunshine. It is a big beach level. You have your resort, you have a beach, you have a harbor. Like, they're in the same, like, region, but it's not like forcefully putting a snow level in the sunny beach game. But with this, it's all consistent to where they are. Keroppi is communicating to you and giving you details on what the Block Battalion is actually doing. So in these first little bits of levels, when you're actually within Senryo Town trying to stop them. You can see them trying to abduct shops and like terrorizing the citizens and kidnapping them, which I like that you can actually see them doing the terrorizings and stuff like that, because it actually makes you feel like they're actively being pricks and they're actually doing something. So when you play through the game, it gets a little bit more satisfying when you do stop them. Other things that this level introduces to you is these trees that you can knock down to make bridges with, these cursed coins that you have to collect, and then you can end up using on like purchasing cakes and other things. There's these trees that you can knock down to get more health. The cake also does your health too, but the apples are free. So the cake's not really necessary unless you want some. You get introduced to the fact that enemies can carry keys, and then you can open the gate, and that's where they're actually kidnapping your mom. Also, there's boxes here to see that you can break boxes and stuff like that. And you can interact with garbage cans. So the first level, they have so many assets in which that you're going to be using later on anyways. And after you save your mom, she's back at the house. You're going to be saving people throughout this game. Some of them are family members that will come back to the house. Others are going to be friends. And some of those friends can actually be allies to you to support you in the levels. The family members you got in the house are your father and your grandfather. Father is the settings. Grandfather does the saving. If you go to the computer, you can talk to Krocolate before every single level. He gives you a little information about the plot at the moment and why you're going to the next level and what you're doing there. So the family members you do save is Hello Kitty's mom, which if you talk to her, she'll give you access to the cutscenes of the game, but you have to use coins to purchase them. And then when you save Mimi, Mimi will give you character bios for all the characters that appear in this game. Plus block Hello Kitty, which it's cute. She gets turned into a block later on. It's not a big thing. It's only for one level. Actually, technically two, for the last boss fight too. But she turns into a block. It's cute. And then Grandma sells you, again, you gotta use those coins, to get music. And then you also get a closet where you can change your clothing and your weapons. Krocolate will make you new weapons throughout the game. And then clothing, you'll unlock them through levels or through things that you do in the game. And they're not very clear. There's going to be these mailboxes that gives you like hints to what to do to unlock these. But none of them is really clearly online. This is another weird thing about this game. A lot of people on YouTube that I was watching also wasn't clear on the full details on what to do. They got a vague idea, but like sometimes it just didn't work. And then at some point it just did work. And so it's not really documented too well. So this one hint says you have to defeat these cheerleaders to get something. Or something along that line. And so it doesn't tell you how many cheerleaders you have to beat. When you beat these cheerleaders from the Block Battalion, if you beat so many of them, you get the cheerleading outfit. And then, if you beat more of them, you get the cheerleader B outfit. Because that's the thing in this game. Every outfit has an A and a B version, which is just an alternate color. There's one where you have to leave the game on for like 3 hours, and then 5 hours. I think that's the sailor outfit. And there's another one where you get it from beating these giant Block Battalion guys. And I think you have to beat like 18 of them. And like when they show up in a level, there's maybe like one. There's one level when there's 3 of them. But still, that's quite a bit. Then, that on top of all those like cutscenes and music and character bios with the coins, it honestly became such a huge grind. Getting all those, you ain't gonna get all of that by the end of the game, most likely. You'll have to replay levels by the time afterwards, and then you can get all those extra stuff. Besides your family, there's 2 kind of friends you can save. You have friends who will end up assisting you in the game, and then you also have friends that are just going to stand there or teleport away. Characters that you can't play as that you will save are characters like Pochako and Dear Daniel. And okay, they must have like some weird fascination to Dear Daniel, because when you go into the profiles, if you purchase them, everyone's like little small things like Pochi, the Katsumaru's alligator. It's like, people have guard dogs, but Batsumaru has a guard gator. No bark, all bite. Really short, right? But then you go to Dear Daniel, and he gets like 3 pages all about him. They really like Dear Daniel. But yeah, these characters, they just basically say thank you, and that's it. But then there's these other characters that can team up with you. Like My Melody, Pom Pom Purin, you got Roundabouts, you got, Pochi. Pochi's in there. Tabo as well. And Monkichi. All those friends you can actually unlock to be your partners in some levels. Unfortunately, they can't go into boss arenas. But these teammates, every single level will have like 1 or 2 items that... The item will be random, but they're always in the same spot. But that item will correspond with one of your partners. And these items will increase their stamina, their attack, their speed, and all that kind of stuff. So you can level up these friends. But in my experience of the game, they're not going to get max leveled by the time you get to the game. And they're only allowed in certain levels. I honestly feel like they should have played a little bit more of an interactable part in the game. But some levels where you meet that friend, they are still going to be in that level. So let's say Roundabouts, who is a physical one that attacks people. I take him to the one where you get Pochi, the alligator, who also attacks people. I will have both of them at the same time, and they just maul the enemy. I would have loved to do that at any time in this game. It's really funny just seeing them mow them down. And characters like Pom Pom Purin and Monkichi and Melody, they're passive characters. Like Monkichi throws a banana, which slows the enemy down. Pom Pom Purin throws a dessert at the enemy, which prevents them from attacking. And Melody will throw cookies at you and heal you. While Tabo, Pochi, and Roundabouts, they're pure, like, attacking the enemy kind of deals. And you find these guys in specific levels, and they'll join you. And you can't use them in boss battles, unfortunately. And yes, this game has boss battles. And this is kind of where it kind of feels like a Saturday morning cartoon to me. At the beginning of every single level, if you go to the computer and talk to Koropi, he'll tell you about the standing of the plot line at that moment. And your goal and why you're going to each of these levels. He talks to you in every level, tells you a mission. They got like this, he's the man in the chair kind of brains of the group, and Hello Kitty's the muscle doing the actual job. They kind of got that kind of relationship in here. So how this game is divided in, there's 5 levels, each level consisting of 2 stages and 1 boss. But within those levels of 2 stages and a boss, it has its own condensed kind of like plot line and mission that you're going to, that leads to that boss. Which to me ended up feeling like there's like these smaller subplots to the bigger plot. And that's why I feel like it was like a Saturday morning cartoon, like bad guy of the day or whatever thing going on. And that made it a lot more engaging, especially when as I said before, this is a world that's connected. Like the very beginning, it's the terrorizing of Senryo Town. Hello Kitty's friends are disbanded, kidnapped, taken away. They're stealing buildings. And so it's Hello Kitty's job to stop these people and get them out of that town at the moment. And at the very end, you fight this guy on a tank and have to throw timed bombs back at him and hide behind walls and jump over the lasers. It was pretty cool. I wasn't expecting that for a Hello Kitty game. The second level probably has like the weakest of the individual plot lines. You're going to be in an amusement park, and this here you kind of get to see more of a dynamic on the enemies themselves. But the whole plot on this one is that they're kidnapping the individuals of Senryo Town. This is where you meet Pom Pom Purin and Tabo as well. So you get 2 new friends, and you find out that you can use partners in this game. and you get introduced that each level will have their own missions. If you press pause, you can see your mission list, and you have to meet all those requirements before ending the level. For the first one, you have to defeat like this mini boss, this green chef, and mini bosses are going to be throughout this game. And something I like is these mini bosses kind of correspond with some of the lesser guys, but this chef one, this is the only level he's actually in. So I think when you kill him, you actually murder him. Then you save the twin stars, which will help you later on to actually fly and go to different places. But they're not actually assistants like Purin. And the boss of this level is like this. I really vibe with this guy's face. He looks I love him. Triangle Man. And he's just like snatching the trains. And I think he's straight up doing a terrorist attack of some sort. There's these trains with bombs on them, and he'll run down by, and Krocolate says you can't let them take the kid's dreamland, or dream world, or something like that. So this is also where I'm like, what are they actually doing here? What does he mean by this? I don't know if they mean by, like, just taking over the place, or, like, blowing the place up. I don't know what their plan was here. The following level, I really like this. It's a shopping mall. And it's really funny that Monkichi, this monkey guy, gets kidnapped. Because the Block Battalion took their time. They went on Photoshop. They went on their computer onto, like, Word document. And they're like, boop, 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 boop. And then they printed out fake flyers for discounts and scattered them across Senryo Town. And people are coming to the grocery store for these discounts and getting kidnapped. And Monkichi sees this discount for bananas, and he pulls up, and he gets kidnapped. First level of this stage is you're going in there, you're saving them. But then in the second level of this, you actually go to the freezers of this grocery store. And this is a whole different kind of level. It's like, it's just in one big square with a bunch of platforms. You can farm a lot of coins here, believe me. And you just need to hit all these levers. But the reason you're here is because beyond the Block Battalion trying to kidnap people, they're now using this freezer and this grocery store as an actual factory, which then they're using this factory to manufacture these big robots, which then you actually fight afterwards. You fight this red guy in a bear onesie in a giant weird jumping spider mech, but the fight is super rad when Hello Kitty beats up on these spring enemies, jumps on their head, and then lands right on it. It's really cool. And when you can actually get my first fight, the thing didn't actually move around the stage very much, but I found out that yes, it actually can. I think if the stage layout was a little bit better, that feeling of the enemy moving around and the more satisfaction of actually jumping on them would have been a lot more, like, involved and dynamic. Because what they had here felt really satisfying when you actually landed on them. But if it was a little bit more difficult with, like, more movement of it, I think it would have been way more rad. For the following levels, it's like this parking lot, and then you're at this big, like, sports complex. And you're trying to follow leads of, like, people vanishing now, just straight up vanishing. And it's actually from the Block Battalion's UFO beam tractoring people up. And then they're actually trying to build a new factory since you just destroyed the last one. And they're hiding their mothership underneath the pool at the sports complex. And in the parking lot, this is perfect. This is where you found roundabouts. Which, roundabouts is one of my favorite ones in this game. Didn't really know about roundabouts beforehand, but it's so... I love this guy. I love this guy. I have to help him find his batteries, his 6 batteries, so he can break through these walls to help you through. And something very interesting here. This is when you're introduced to these ninja enemies, but there's vehicles here sawed right in half. And I'm assuming they're implying that the ninjas did this. But some of these seats are really funny. Like, when the car is cut in half, you can kind of still see, like, squirrels sitting in the back seat. Or sometimes the seat being cut in half, and you can see kind of like that cotton texture that's within the seat. It's really funny. I like that a lot. So the people are getting abducted. They don't know from what yet. Afterwards, you find out there's a lead that it's the mothership, and they're trying to recreate a factory to manufacture the big machines. And then they take over the baseball stadium, where they're running a new program for their block battalions to become better soldiers. And then they send down one of their generals to oversee this program. The baseball level boss is probably the weakest boss in my opinion. You have to throw these baseballs at these walls and they bounce around and hit him. I wasn't even fully sure what was going on there. After the baseball level, you're going to be going to some place where they're under construction, but villagers have been hearing sounds going on over there, and that's where the block battalion has been hiding out. And this is where you meet Pochi, and I actually felt really bad, because the new Hello Kitty Island Adventures Deluxe game came out for the Switch, and my wife's been playing it, and a character that hasn't been seen in such a long time from Senryo is in it. His name is Big Challenges. I honestly thought all this time that this alligator that's in this game from like the intro and stuff like that, I thought that was Big Challenges. So when I saw this Reddit article, it was like, Big Challenges has not been seen since blah blah, and I'm like, actually. And then I found out that this is just Pochi, Batsumaru's alligator. I felt so stupid. But you can get him in this swamp level that's under construction, and this is kind of like a stealth level. You don't want to be caught in the flashlights of the enemies or in the searchlights, or a bunch of enemies will come in and you have to beat them to open the gate. So what you can do is you can like walk around the characters, hit the button to open the door, and then try and rush your way through. And it's honestly really fun trying to run through it without being caught. When you go through to the next level, this is like now the onslaught. This is the like if I was like iffy if this was a beat 'em up before, this level is definitely a beat 'em up level, because before you can avoid the conflict kind of if you want to, for the most part. Sometimes you do have to fight, but this, like every single room, it's just an onslaught of fighting. And this is the place where you can grind the most to beat these big red enemies so you can get a certain clothing item. I've been in this level quite a lot just to grind for that. And when you get through it, there's actually Batsumaru in a secret other doorway. So if you go over there, you find out that Batsumaru did come to your assistance back in the sports level. He came by and saved you from a bunch of these other enemies. But then a mothership came by, and then Batsumaru was gone, and no one ever questioned anything. Batsumaru was back on the mothership here because he got kidnapped during that cutscene, and we didn't know. And so he's doing some banter, saying like how he did it on purpose or whatever. And then he lets you go off, and that he'll handle everything there or whatever. So then you go off, and then you fight the boss here, and they're making a device which turns people into blocks, which that's where Block Hello Kitty came from. In this level, if you get hit with a blast, you turn into Block Hello Kitty. That's why she's in the profiles. But then this boss, this weird guy who just like flips and changes his face depending if he's upside down or not. I really liked him. He was really cool. I loved his quirk. And he has two phases to his boss fight, kind of, where you have to like destroy the machine first, and then he pulls up, and then you fight him. Imagine he's like the brains of the team or something like that. Following that, you then fight the last boss, which you don't actually defeat the last boss. Kuropi has every villager, all the friends you had, back at his laboratory. Korokoro got a hamster wheel he's going through. You got people on treadmills, you got people on bikes, people on pumps, and they're trying to power this laser that they're going to fire at King Blocko. The mothership got destroyed, so all of his generals escape it in their own individual ships, and then all their ships fuse to make a giant robot. So you're trying to actually shoot him to make him shoot you, and then you're taking cover, then he goes back to destroying the town, then you attack him again, then take cover. You're trying to slow him down, giving Kuropi enough time to charge the laser to 100%. And after that, laser's set, ready to go. You blast him, and he's gone. You've saved the day. You've saved Senryo Land, and you've done all that. And honestly, it felt really nice. Like throughout all these levels that I kind of described there, these are really fun levels. And if you don't make it, to 100%. There's a bad ending to this game that you can actually like purchase back at the house as well, so you can actually get the bad ending cutscene. So I wasn't expecting this game to even have a bad ending. I loved the world that this game kind of made, like with the background and locations that you were getting into. It felt like I was actually going on like a little road trip across a little semi-ro town here. Sometimes the platforming was very basic, and the movement initially was kind of weird. It's not something I can really harp on too much, because one, this is directed to be like, what, little kids' first platformer? Completely makes sense. It's an easy game. But it wasn't like insulting to their intelligence or their ability, because there's some points where I think they actually might have some trouble. I got a game over screen, not on purpose. There's this ball. I just wanted these coins, right? And I just kept getting hit by this ball. And then this cutscene, if I was a little kid, if I was like maybe 6, maybe 7, this would have creeped me out. Why is the music like this? What I'm saying, this game is good, this game is fun. When I think of a good licensed game, I think of Battle for Bikini Bottom. I think of Taz for the GameCube. That was actually really fun, and I love the worlds that it brought you in that one. And another one would have been like the Animaniacs game for the GameCube. I don't remember it being that bad, but it honestly, it felt like what the show was, and it had really good interactions with that. But I would say this game, using the license of Hello Kitty, the characters' interactions with one another, the dialogue, these cutscenes, like introducing these new characters, they fit in really well to what was going on. And I love the concept of Hello Kitty as a magical girl in an actual action game. The biggest issue I will have with this game is honestly the grind. And that's so weird to say. By the time you beat the game, you will not have all the clothing. You will not have enough coins to purchase all the profiles and all the cutscenes and all the music. You're not going to have all of that. So you are going to have to repeat these levels. And the evolving of your partners with the leveling up mechanic things with those items, that makes you want to replay the levels again to do it. But nothing really changes. So you're going to look for that 1 or 2 levels where you can grind the fastest with it. Like for the one where I had to leave the game on for like 5 hours, I just left the game on. I didn't even play it for that long. I just left it on, and then I unlocked those clothing. Same thing I did to unlock Mewtwo and Smash Brothers. And then the weapons were fine. Krocolate just ends up giving you those weapons at some point. There's like the wand, a hammer, and a maraca. So you just get those. The grinding of those the red enemies and the cheerleaders, those ones, the cheerleaders was fine, but the red ones, I had to kill 18 of them, and the most I can fight in a level is 3. That made me go through that one gauntlet of fighting so many times, so many unnecessary amount of times. And for these coins, you maybe get like 100 and I don't know, 20 in level, and the one that I probably get the most coins in is that freezer level. And there's one item in there that you can use to level up your partners, as far as I know. And so I was replaying that one like crazy, just grinding it, because I could just do it really fast after getting like the boop, 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 hit all the switches, done. I could do that fast. But again, it's like 100 and something coins only, and for each cutscene, that's 100 coins for every single cutscene. And then later on, the cutscenes get more expensive, and the music's all 150. The character bios are like 60, and then they lead to 100 or something like that, or 80. I forget. But the grinding for the amount of coins you need for all these extras is honestly kind of ridiculous. And I personally think it would have been better if the coins were used for the clothing. Cutscenes, I think, should have just been given to you. That part was like, it took quite a while. And and the thing, Krocolate. Okay, so Krocolate with an K-E-R and Krocolate, K-O-R, they're two different characters. They're actually siblings. They're triplets. There's a sister as well. Krocolate is the main character of the Krocolate series. Krocolate is just a side character. Krocolate has the white and red stripes down on his shirt. And the guy you talk to on the computer is, in the game, said to be Krocolate. And he's wearing the mechanic's clothing with a wrench. In one of the levels, you actually save his brother, Krocolate, who's wearing white and red stripes. You can already see where this is kind of going, maybe. And, so he's like, I'm not my brother Krocolate, I'm Krocolate. And then I think he says they get mixed up all the time. But then he goes, when you go to the character bios, you can purchase both of their biographies. And Krocolate, with the wrench, is there, and he says how he has siblings and all this. But the thing is, when you look at Krocolate profile, when the one with the red and white stripes, his specifically says that they get mixed up all the time. And he likes to tinker with mechanical things. He's basically a mechanic, right? Though his brother, Krocolate, is the one in the mechanic outfit with the wrench. I don't know if it was in the original Japanese that it stated this, or if it's just in the translated English one that they swapped the names, but I honestly think they swapped the names by accident, because Krocolate has the red and white stripes, just like Krocolate has in this game. And Krocolate is supposed to be the one who likes to do mechanical stuff, even though it's labeled to the red and white striped one. And when we go in the book, unfortunately, I only have the French one, but the missions. Du peux communiquer avec Krocolate. So, en français, they called him Krocolate. Debunked. They messed up the names in the game. I'm not even done this video yet. So, after all of this, 2 weeks passed after I beat this game. I'm onto this one website, and it said, New Game Plus. I'm like, there's no New Game Plus in this. And it says, after you rescue Batsumaru from Last Breath of Reliance and complete the game, they will be given the option to play as Batsumaru in a new game. So, Batsumaru, when you start up a new file, you play as Batsumaru now. I didn't know. And in this, the dialogue is slightly different. Batsumaru's a prick. I love him. He's like ragging on Monkichi in this one. Because the plot, the level, all the same. There's different dialogues now. Batsumaru cannot turn into a cube. He just gets damaged. He cannot buy clothing, but he can still buy cutscenes, music, and profile pictures. You have to grind again if you want 100% with Batsumaru. He somehow feels different. Where I said Hello Kitty had that like slidiness to it, Batsumaru's not in roller skates. He just has a frying pan. He honestly feels way more secure in movement. Batsumaru, he just feels better to play as, like, oddly enough. And he does basically the exact same things. He doesn't throw a projectile with his double jump attack, but he does slam down on the opponent. I'm trying to think of what else with him. He gets a different ending at the end of the game. So when they shoot the blast at King Blocko, Blocko punches it away, but then it hits Batsumaru, who then grows giant, and then Batsumaru like yeets him into space. It's fantastic. I love it. the coupon trick. So their machine that they have now that they're trying to make in the factory is like a cloning machine now. So they've cloned Blocko was cloned, everybody was cloned, and so they're trying to do the exact same plan again. And Hello Kitty's kidnapped this time, so Batsumaru's on his way to go save her, even though he also says he just wants to steal the enemy's devices to conquer the world himself. But Batsumaru is just trying to be all cool, and people are like not passively aggressive, but they're like, yeah, we need a cool penguin to save the day. Yeah, you're so cool, Batsumaru. And they're just being sarcastic with him just to inflate his ego. It's funny. But he starts ragging on Monkichi because Monkichi falls for the discount banana trick again, and he just starts ragging on him, and it's really funny. So yeah, with Batsumaru, it was that. Besides, like, the other one was, the other issue I had with the thing was, like, that big old grind. With Batsumaru, it was different because it was, like, I was treated to, like, these different dynamics of interactions. That end cutscene was honestly really worth it. But, yeah, no, and a different slight feel of gameplay. It was so weird. It was, like, it was the slightest tweak. Just like when I was saying, loose feet. They're, like, the other roller skate mechanics, if it was like really loose, no, we tightened that up a little bit. No, it's loose-ish. But now with Batsumaru, that ain't loose at all. You feel like you're in full control. It's really weird, but very welcoming. I love that, and that explains why he wasn't a partner you can get. Because I was wondering throughout the whole game, I'm like, why isn't he a partner? He was there in the first level. All in all, I can just say that Hello Kitty Roller Rescue is a very solid game. I like it, but I will admit that it has its drawbacks. Being aimed for a younger audience, it definitely is really easy. But they could have added a little bit more challenge to the game, I think. I don't know what the skill level of the actual developers were, but something I would have liked to see in this game was a little bit more emphasis on roller rescue in the title. Hello Kitty's in roller skates, and they definitely had like some sort of idea of movement with that when making her. She feels a little looser than playing as Batsumaru, who doesn't have wheels on his feet. So if they had something where it like hammed in more on that she's on a roller skate kind of aspect in the gameplay, definitely, if they could have had a better camera, they might have had, like, better opportunities for, like, maybe a grinding section or a racing level. That's another thing. Maybe they could have had, like, mini games or distinct puzzles for each level and location. At least one per stage. Like that one Pom Pom Purin puzzle where you have to get him off of the Ferris wheel. You have to stop it at the right spot. Yes, it was very simple. It was earlier on in the game too. But if they could have just had something like that to break up the platforming and like the fighting and just add up a little bit more interaction within the game, I think that would have added a lot to the experience. Also, if the camera was better, maybe they could have made a more capable two-player mode if they were even to make a two-player mode, because with this camera I don't think two-player would have been great. But if they could have made a better camera, maybe they could have added a little bit more of a oomph to her roller skatingness, or like a two-player mode with those secondary characters. But one thing, regardless if they changed up the gameplay or not, something I would have liked to have was just not as much grinding. That grind for the coins just to unlock all of the like cutscenes and music and biographies, and like even the slight grind of having to defeat those red enemies. Like the cheerleaders weren't an issue, but the red guys, that one felt like a slog. If maybe they use the coins only for like buying the outfits, excluding certain outfits that need like certain requirements for it. And another thing they could have done if they really wanted to add that replay value to each of these levels, if they really wanted you to grind in coins, they could have like added a lot more to the mission requirements. Like maybe there could have been a mission that isn't required for the storyline, but maybe it's like a side quest kind of mission after you beat it originally. Or maybe they could have added like those mini games that I told you, or like the puzzles within each individual stage. Maybe there's something where you can beat a score or a record on it. I just think like there could have been like plenty of directions that they could have made with what they had here. But that's only if I was thinking of ways to improve what we already have. What we already have here is a fun game, but if I want to like push it a little bit more, these are the kind of things that I would have wanted to see in this game. And honestly, with all these games getting remade and stuff like that, I would actually like to see a Hello Kitty game with this kind of playstyle again. Maybe a Roller Rescue 2. Maybe a complete remake. There's things here for a great game. And I think it's not too late to take advantage of those. little tidbits here and there. This game was advertised a lot in England, and they actually had 2 Flash games, and it was advertised a little bit, promoted a little bit in Singapore. I'll start with the Singapore one right now. They ended up having a Hello Kitty Crystal Xbox, and it was bundled with the game and a crystal controller. And honestly, it looks really cool. I really love the design of it, and just being an exclusive to Singapore, you will not see this. You're probably not going to be seeing this anywhere anytime soon. An asset disc was released with this game, but it wasn't just this game. It was 2 games in one in this disc. The Suffering Ties That Bond and Hello Kitty Roller Rescue was on the same asset disc. I do not know why. It's really weird. And then now we can get to the Hello Kitty's Flash games. The Flash games were from a European website, which is down now, but they've been preserved on these specific websites right here. They are called Namuki.com. They were preserved on this website, and there's 2 of them. There is Roller Race Minigame and Hello Kitty Roller Rescue. Hello Kitty Roller Rescue is a game where you're like skating forward and you have to grab your friends and apples to keep your stamina up. It's like one of those arcade games where like there's gas canisters and your car is slowly draining on gas, so you want to hit the canisters to regain gas, and at the same time you want to catch a certain amount of your friends and not get hit by the block battalion enemies. There's like 3 levels of this. Nothing too big on it. But then the other one is very interesting. Roller Race Minigame. This is a game where you're going to be tapping Z and X interchangeably to make your character race. Kind of like a Mario Party minigame, or like the Sandshrew game from Pokemon Stadium, where you have to click L and R to dig. So it's similar to that. And in this, you actually could win £500 for the person who can race this the most. This like some little girl probably broke her damn fingers trying to do this, went crying to dad. Dad came by, he did it, and then after he had a drinking problem. This was so difficult because I got to the first 2 levels of it, and then the 3rd level killed me. I could not do it. I was in last place. You fight 2 computers. And so I got my wife. My wife's so good at these kind of games. She beat the 3rd level. But the thing about this game is the enemies don't get faster. The amount you have to tap in between gets harder. It's like the gears on a bike where like you're pedaling, and when you change it and they pedal harder just to move, that's exactly what it felt like. And it was ridiculous. And I like to imagine the publishers for Europe who had this game, they had like that Sanrio bag. They like had that Hello Kitty money, right? And so they're like, yeah, we have an extra 500 pounds. We'll put him here into this little cute contest here. Like, they got that Hello Kitty bag. What other character do you think could do? There's plenty of other characters, but like Sora. Like, if there was like a Flash game on Sora, and like they got that Sora bag, and they're gonna pay the kid for like playing the game, they'll be like, here you go. Oh, it's an IOU. And that's what you would get. Not with Hello Kitty. You get that money with her.